G'day cheeky dogs, my name's Margie and I'm an Australian currently living in America. And welcome to today's video, which is going to be all about the new Bluey Season 3C episode, Exercise.
This episode of Bluey is called Exercise.
And I'm going to be breaking down for you all the hidden little details that were in this episode, as well as the Easter eggs, some of the really interesting facts as well from the Behind Bluey podcast, which was about this episode from the Ludo Studios team. So we're going to be going through all of those really fun things. Emphasis on the fun things. I'm going to make this very clear, guys. I am not going to be talking about the exercise, health, weight loss, body positivity, issues, positive, negatives, associations, all of that. That storyline, I'm not going to be talking about that in this video. I have already done a video about that, expressing my personal feelings, what I think could have been done differently, where people see it, yes, as realistic, all of that. All of that is already in another video. I'll put a link for it up here, as well as in the comment section down below. So if you have feelings about that, and you would like to comment on it, please do so on that video. This video is for fun. This is the fun part of this episode, all of the really cool stuff in it, and that's what we're going to be focusing on. Okay, so cheeky dogs, let's get into it.
Okay, I can make this work.
So we're gonna actually start at the very end of this episode, and that's gonna be at the doctor's office, because there was a lot of really cool stuff in that, as well as, what a surprise, our traditional Easter eggs. So we do have a long dog and a tennis ball in this episode. The long dog is in the little toy basket in the background there. It's a little purple one. And the tennis ball, I didn't notice at first, but if you look in the posters behind the doctor, there's a dog's health poster with a little dog there. And at first what looks like it's just sort of showing his bones and his heart. But if you look in his brain, instead of a brain, it's a tennis ball, which I think is such a cool little detail. The idea of, yep, dogs are always thinking about tennis balls and chasing after them and things like that. So I love that that's where the hidden tennis ball was for this episode. Now, of course, we have to talk about the doctor himself. This is a new doctor that we haven't seen before. The previous doctors were both the same breed, but they were a male and a female. This one, however, is also a male, and it is voiced by a celebrity cameo. It is Neil Finn, who is a famous New Zealand musician, most commonly known as the member of Spit's End, Crowded House, and Fleetwood Mac. So it was so cool to hear a New Zealand accent again integrated into the show, because of course Australia and New Zealand are right next to each other, and there's a lot of people from New Zealand who live in Brisbane. The doctor also tells Bandit that his blood pressure is 120/80, which is a healthy blood pressure for dogs as well. So I think that was a cool fact, because I wanted to double check. I'm like, is this also good for dogs? And yeah, it was. The eye chart we also see in the background is an accurate representation of an eye chart that you would see in Australia. And I do have a question for you cheeky dogs. Down the bottom in that toy basket, we see a pink rabbit and a blue penguin. Now, I've gotten this comment before where people have said, oh, Margie, the toys aren't Easter eggs, rah, rah, rah. But now I have proof that they are actual physical hearing proof. So on the Behind the Bluey podcast, the animators said that, yeah, they do make the toys Easter eggs. And they talked about the fact that Grade Dancer and Polly Puppy were in this episode as an Easter egg as well. But the toys are Easter eggs. So what do you think is that pink rabbit and that blue penguin an Easter egg of? Is there a movie, TV show, animation character that you can think of, or video game character that you think represents those two? Let me know in that comment section down below. Now, the second really cool Easter eggs that I want to talk about is the music at the start. So we're switching all the way back to the start of the episode, and you might have noticed that when the opening scene starts, we hear Bandit humming, and it says, like in the subtitles, guitar riff. But if you listen to what he's humming, and then if you compare it to the end of the Cat Squad theme, yeah, they're basically the same. So I definitely think that this is a really cool reference to Cat Squad, but also the fact that we get kids songs stuck in our heads all the time as parents. The Bluey theme song constantly is always stuck in my head too. So I thought that was a really cool reference to Cat Squad. Now I do also want to talk about Bingo in this episode, because we have a cute, fun little interesting details with her as well. The first one is that her nickname for this is Lan, which we have heard before in the episode Yoga Ball, which I also just recently did a breakdown of. So I was like, I know this nickname. We also find out that she can now finally count past 13. So back in the episode Hide and Seek, she said that she could only count up to 13, but this time we hear her saying 14 o'clock, so obviously she can count higher now. But also brings up the fact that technically, like, their work day so far has been from 9 till 2, and they've been playing the whole time. So no wonder she thinks that she has to get back to her job. I do also love that at the very start of the episode, when we see Bluey and Bingo interacting in the bathroom, they're actually playing a game of hide and seek. So Bluey, like, ducks down when Bingo comes in, and then she throws the duck at her, and she says, found you. So it's kind of cute that we can see, even though there's, you know, the dialogue going on between Bandit and Chili and all that. In the background though, the girls are playing their game and Bingo's playing with the bathtub. It's very cool to see that sort of background animation going on. Now, speaking of animation, Joe Brum did say in the podcast what his favorite scenes were from this episode. And for him, it was the squatting scene, and specifically Bandit's eyes as he's squatting with the girls and just how much emotion that they tell. And it's very true. They did such a fantastic job of showing Bandit's emotion while he was exercising with the girls. I, however, think one of the coolest handoff scenes or animation scenes is the handoff scene at the end where Bandit takes off his Fitbit, throws it to Chili, she catches it, flips it on straight away and starts running. Such a smooth transition, which of course would never work in real life. That would take forever. But it was a really cool way of showing them working together as a team to both get their exercise in, and I love that they share a Fitbit too. But like, that also like, you know, kind of defies like the steps count thing. I don't know, but I thought it was a really cool part of the scene. Now, I did also feel like there's a bit of like boss baby vibes going on with this, especially with Bluey. It was quite funny seeing her going from being such like a really happy boss to like the end scene with Chili where she just like lost it. This is the second time now, because in Cubby as well, we saw her kind of like getting angry and barking at Chili when she was like bumping into her. And it was kind of funny to see like another kind of argument, almost like a playful one, of course, between the two of them. But the interaction was so funny where she said like she wanted 11 sugars and like just threw the water bowl down, try to be happy, but I just can't. I thought that scene with Bluey was just so funny, and seeing her evolve as a character and showing so many more emotions and how differently she can change in different roles, I think is really cool. Now, I do want to talk a bit about the music in this episode as well. So in the background, we see Bandit using his phone. And again, another Easter egg here, he calls his phone Phony, or I'm guessing that's the version of Siri. So we do have an AI system, it appears in the Bluey verse, and its name is Phony. But his phone, of course, does also plug straight into the speakers, which is very old school kind of technology rather than just Bluetoothing it. But we do see the album covers change when the music changes, of course. And it's so cool because the album covers all look very 80s, as Joff Bush put it in the podcast, was of course all inspired by 80s music. And I think this is just such an extra little detail that just makes, again, the show very realistic. For myself, if I go to exercise, yeah, I tend to put on early 2000s music because that's the time era that I grew up in, and that music has a bigger impact in my mind, and that's what I like to work out to. And obviously for Bandit, the 80s was his big time of reference for impact and music as well. Of course, we already knew he loved the 80s from Fairy Tale. But I love that there not only was the album covers 80s style, but Joff really made an effort to make it 80s style music as well. The gnome lifting weights as well in the background was a really just funny like cut scene. I'm really enjoying the cut scenes that they've been doing in these episodes because I think, again, they really try to just reflect something that's going on in the episode as well. So that was super funny that like that gnome actually exists, and I hope we see it again one day. I also liked that you can see Bingo doing like the peace sign when they're pretending to take selfies at the fun park. And randomly, we also have like a Colgate Easter egg. The toothpaste that Bandit uses is Colgate, which also brings into the fact, I can understand why maybe Bandit was like brushing his teeth in the bathroom, but then why is Chili coming in to also have a shower in that bathroom? Are they having renovations done to their own separate bathroom that they already have? I'm really curious about this. Otherwise, why are they in that bathroom? It makes no sense. Why are the scales in the girls' bathroom? Why is Chili in there having shower? I don't know. My assumption is that they must be having renovations done to their bathroom or something's gone wrong in there. That's the only explanation for it. So, like I said, I did want to talk about the second storyline that was also running through this episode, which was about work. And I did mention this in my last video, that this kind of episode reminded me a lot of the actual work episode that we've already had before in Bluey. But this one, I guess, was a little bit different. It was really focusing on that idea that your boss just wants you to be happy, and if you're happy, then he's happy, and then everyone's happy at work kind of thing. Which, of course, I feel like is a very modern take on younger bosses or millennials trying to get into the workforce and be bosses and things like that. And it's kind of all over TikTok that, yes, millennial bosses are a lot more easygoing. We want people to be happy. We care about mental health. We care about time off because that is really important. And we don't care about where you work. We care about the work that's getting done instead. So I found that this point of view I thought was really great because, again, in the Behind Blue podcast, you can really hear that that's also kind of Joe Brum's attitude towards his workplace there at Ludo Studios as well. He's kind of like the boss of making the show, and he wants everyone to be happy as well. He wants a really happy environment. So I thought that was kind of cool. Like, you could see that through his writing in the script, that that's what he genuinely really wants to believe and wants, you know, I guess ideally the world to be like in some ways. But yeah, it would be great if everyone's boss wanted them to be happy and was a really happy person. I think, yeah, workplaces would be a much better place in the world. But overall, I would probably give this episode It's hard, obviously, because of the other reasons. But I'm going to split it up. So from the backyard scene onwards, and with all the Easter eggs and everything like that, I love this episode, and I would probably give this section of the episode like a 4 out of 5 long dogs. I thought it was really cool. I enjoyed seeing the positive aspects of, you know, exercising with your children. They're not a roadblock to your routine. They can be incorporated into it, all the positive stuff that comes with it, and seeing both parents also exercising with their girls and playing with them. Loved that. I also loved the doctor's office and all the Easter eggs in that. So for me, 4 out of 5 for sure. The bathroom scene, of course, like I said, other video. But if you cheeky dogs are not in Australia, but you would like to watch these episodes as well and join us for the live streams on Saturday afternoon, American time, to watch along for the watch party, you do need a VPN to change your location to Australia, because these episodes are only coming out in Australia, as is the Bluey podcast. It is also only in Australia. So jump cut to how you can do that. If you don't live in Australia like me, but you want to watch season 3, I made a whole video about how you can watch Bluey season 3 worldwide. I go through it step by step as to how to use a NordVPN to watch Bluey online for free. Note this video is not sponsored, and I am an affiliate though with NordVPN. It's what I use so that I can watch season 3 and make all these videos about it. So I go through how to set up your Nord account, as well as how to set up that it's in Australia, so then your internet thinks that you are in Australia as well. And then we go over to the ABC iView website for Australia, where Bluey season 3 is aired, how to set up your account on that as well, and then where to go on the website so that you can access Bluey season 3. And you can also access season 1 and season 2, including the episodes Dad Baby as well as Teasing, which you can't always find on Disney depending on what country that you live in. So cheeky dogs, until the next video, I have picked you out a few other videos that maybe you would like to watch, and I will see you all on Saturday for our live stream, and then back for our breakdowns again on Sunday and Monday. Mwah! Bye!